yesterday was probably one of the worst days of my life. And if I go to hell, that's what it'll be like.
Well, I suppose the obvious question is, why did we do it? It probably started a few years earlier in Svalbard in the high Arctic, where I found myself on a British Schools Exploring Society expedition, where I was the medic and Paddy was one of the team members. I'd fallen in love with the polar environment and polar expeditions in particular by that point, spurred on by reading books by Ranulph Fiennes and hearing about the first crossing of Greenland by Fridtjof Nansen. And there's just simply nothing I wanted to do more than getting out onto the ice, just being surrounded by an absolute empty wilderness and putting strenuous physical effort into pulling this incredibly heavy pulk across the ice. So the plan was that we would start from the Han Glacier on the east coast of Greenland, and then we'd cross in a more or less straight line to a place called Dog Camp, which is on the west coast, and then a short distance from there over to a place called Point 660, which is a promontory of land into the ice on the west coast. And we spent months getting ready. I pored over spreadsheets, looking at different food options, making sure that we'd taken the correct number of calories. And so in May 2004, we weighed out our food portions, packed everything up, and checked it off our master kit list. Drove over to Glasgow and took a flight from Glasgow to Iceland, and then from Iceland over to Greenland. There are 35 bags. One bag doesn't have cheese and salami.
How can that possibly be? Because we went through filling them all.
Well, those are 2 boxes with a lot of food bags.
You're gonna be with you.
I don't know if there's a leaf or top. Same nearby.
Leave pants.
No leaf or top. Yeah, I'll put kind of overnightish stuff in there perhaps as well for the space.
Crampons.
Yeah, well,
You've got
take
2
them, yeah.
lists. You've got to now show him the receipt.
Yeah, okay.
Receipt.
Damn right.
Well, that's more money.
That's right. However,
There's the ticket.
we're going.
It's not very big. I think a box will fit. Fancy seeing you here.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I think I left my toothbrush. Here's our first camp. We've got the stove on. Flight was amazing. I think we're both having trouble getting our heads around it at the moment. It's just absolutely stupendous. That's where we're going. Somewhere over there.
Fine evening.
Well, we've just pulsed 6 kilometres. Which doesn't sound very much, but the surface conditions have been pretty horrific. There's been a lot of fresh snow in the last 24 hours, 48 hours, I think, before we got here as well. The result is that it's hard breaking trail. Plus, of course, we're not used to skiing and pulping too much. I'm knackered. The pulps, we worked out that, what were they?
109 kilos each.
109 kilos each at the moment, which is, that's a fair-sized guy plus a 30-kilo rucksack, which is a lot by anyone's standards.
It was my first time cross-country skiing, which is a bit ridiculous, really, since doing an expedition, we're able to do a lot of it. I guess it'll be quite good by the time I finish. It's been just an absolutely amazing experience to be out here moving everything we need, just a sort of miniature travelling roadshow. And I feel that there's this deep romance to, or this really romantic image to man-hauling generally. I think just the idea of you and your mates with hooks strapped onto you, just toiling in this incredible wilderness. I think it's something I've been attracted to for a long time, and I haven't found the words yet to really describe how incredible it is to actually be out here doing it. That and the fact that I'm not sure it's really sunk in yet.
Tea's ready. Maybe having these. This is the first time that either of us have had these. So this is going to be an interesting experience.
Well, if we don't like them, we've got
We're absolutely
a shed load to eat. Well, here's a typical dinner. First of all, you have the dorskarhuta, or cod and potato. Then there's the couscous.
or couscous.
Couscous. And then, of course, the flavoursome additives that bring it alive. Refreshments, protein drink.
Paddy, tell everybody how cold it is. Yeah, it's that cold. Alright, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. We finished parking today just after 3. It's quite sort of cloudy then. We've just gone and had our dinner and things, and we're about to get into bed. Paddy's just gone out and discovered this, which is where we're going. And as you can see, pretty flat, and not an awful lot there.
No, stop! Let's try that again.
Try it again.
No. Stop.
Well, this is me about to take my medication, as issued by the doctor. He tells me that's painkillers, but that's vitamins, but I think they're probably tranquilizers or something like that instead. These are partly to help my hip extension and stuff like this, and my back, all the other ailments which I have. So it just keeps me going.
Yeah, what we've got is diclofenac, which Paddy's about to lift off there. The two white ones are some simple paracetamol, and the other one, the horse tablet, is a multivitamin.
Suppository.
Well, this is my breakfast of sloppy porridge with some raisins. I don't think either of us are really used to the meals yet, or I mean to the whole diet. Today's also the first day where it's become properly overcast since we set off. The sun's trying to break through up there just now. I think you just make out in the distance that that's where we came from. This is Camp 3. Hopefully in the background you can hear a stove going. It's just boiling down some snow. Or melting down some snow.
Because it stopped
Yeah.
again.
This is melting snow for our fluid today. Try and melt around 2 litres each for caulking. And as Paddy demonstrates, got some protein drink left over from last night, so we're getting involved in some of that just now. Which I think we both found to be pretty decent actually. Alright, we've just arrived at Camp 6, literally just after 5 hours. Today was marked not only by sore stomachs for Paddy and I, which I guess is just one of the things we learned to love about our chosen occupation, but also by the really remarkable finding of some Arctic fox tracks. Tell us about the Arctic fox tracks, Paddy.
Well, the Arctic fox tracks, well, the only reason I recognise them is because I've seen them before. Not in Greenland, but in Svalbard. They seem to be cutting across our track and heading pretty much westerly. But we have to think of our location here. Now, we're 6 days into a nice cap traverse, which means we're going to be probably pushing on 45k in.
More than that.
More than that, even.
No, we're like 60k now.
More like 60. There we go. It went so fast I didn't even notice. And the question is, what's an Arctic fox doing here? There's no food. There's no carrion about that we've seen. I did briefly think that maybe it was following a polar bear, trying to get the carrion from that, because they do that. But then I thought, well, why is a polar bear up here?
Yeah, let's hope there's no polar bears.
God forbid there's not, because we don't have anything. It'd be the ice axe otherwise.
The ice axe and the Leatherman, I think.
That's right, yeah. Spoon.
We've been parking for 3 hours and 10 minutes, and we're going to set up camp here and normally be going for about 5 or actually going to start going for 6 hours now. Yeah, the reason we've stopped, I don't know if you can see this, I'm going to stand behind it to make it really obvious, is because this is what's happening to the skis. Ski should be flat. There's a lot of snow. Watch this. Just absolute chunks of snow. You can't track anymore, you're more just kind of stepping. Also, you'll see that there's no horizon here. There's just no possible way of navigating now.
if you can't track your skis along, you can't even follow a straight line.
There is nothing. There is absolutely nothing. And to that extent, say this evening, when it was windy, and it still is windy, if maybe we hadn't been communicating properly and one of us hadn't been holding the fly sheet of the tent properly, and it blew off, we would then automatically be in a survival situation. The exposure is huge. You know what? Everything that matters is things like your tent and your gloves and your hat, and that's about, obviously the rest of your clothes as well. But there's nothing else that can help you if you get into trouble.
So we'd gone about 50 kilometres, just a tenth of the way across the ice cap, when my ski binding broke. Thank goodness Paddy, since he worked in an outdoor shop, knew how to repair it. But it was really quite unnerving to have something happen so early on, which could threaten the whole success of the expedition. Just a few days later, the exact same thing happened again. The ski binding would start to loosen its way off the ski, starting to separate from the ski completely. Paddy once again burned some holes through the ski surface to remount the binding in the hope that we might not have this problem again.
Even though we're pretty much bang in the middle of the Greenland ice cap, we actually have a satellite phone, and we've got our weekly phone call home to my parents, which serves as a kind of update on our progress. So we phone them, give them our location and a few details about how we've been doing, and they put an update on our website and also phone round other sort of important friend and family members, just so everybody knows we're alive and well.
Hello. Yes. Good. All right, you ready?
Need the coordinates. Okay, we're right. We're doing quite well. There's quite a lot of snow at the moment, though. We didn't get too much progress done yesterday because the snow is very sticky, and there's been a lot of snow, fresh snow today. So we're not sure that we're going to get very far today. We might not be able to get out at all. But our progress in the last few days has been fine, though. We've been averaging 13 or 14 kilometres a day.
But everything was not entirely well. Now well into the crossing, my ski binding broke again and again.
Looking more like a colander now.
How many times have you done that now? Too many.
4, I think.
And even though we came up with some modifications of the binding when we were doing the repairs, the anxiety of this problem, which could totally threaten the expedition's success, never left us.
.66.5 by 42.45.
That's our position, not some random mathematical calculation.
That's right, yeah. Which means that
tomorrow I get to open Dave's present, because hopefully we'll cross 43 degrees. In roughly 2 days or so, we might cross the Arctic Circle. And in about 4 days, with a bit of luck, we'll be halfway.
But this is the delightful view from Camp 18, is it?
18, yeah.
This is in-house entertainment. Just missed an amusing incident while we listened to Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles in strong winds and a blizzard in the middle, quite literally, of the Greenland ice cap. And today we did 16 kilometers as we crossed the Arctic Circle and got close to halfway.
What I thought was because it's manky outside and stuff. Well, despite the fact this is maybe bedtime, but I thought I'd just do a quick tour of the tent. Here's the map. This is my concern because Alistair can't read maps, so this is why I have to look after it. That's our current position, just
Paddy something to do.
just there. As you can see, that's his Arctic Circle, and today we've just crossed it.
Hooray!
Yippee!
At last.
And
We're
we're
tantalisingly closed yesterday. It was a bit unfortunate we didn't do it then.
we're sort of heading obviously to the Midway. That'll be quite a celebration.
Big celebration.
That'll be only 270 kilometres to go then,
Just.
hopefully. The travel monopoly.
Absolutely classic.
Inspired invention. Well done me for taking it.
The only thing Dave could have done better with his present was to put in a pack of cards.
Yeah.
Alas, he probably thought we'd done that ourselves.
It's a good thing this isn't scratch and sniff actually, that's it's maybe quite a good thing. Actually, those socks are quite good, those are my ones. However, those ones,
Now, in the morning, those will actually be solid virtually. The inner ones there. In fact, the outer ones as well.
the clock.
Since my watch very inopportunely ran out of batteries, a week ago at least, I think, we've unfortunately just had to rely on Paddy's. So
With its homemade watch strap of shock cord.
which is excellent.
The snow brush.
That's right.
Next to it, where is it? It's got to have some prey somewhere. There's its prey. That's the snow. You see, it gets bloody everywhere.
It does.
Inside the tent, we've got the door shut, but it just follows you everywhere.
There's you've got the GPS there, toothbrush and toothpaste, and a travel towel, which I really shouldn't have bothered bringing. Although it'll be useful when we have a shower in Iceland for the first time in 6 weeks. It's asymmetric though, this tent. We've actually got a decent sized porch. What you
Or
won't be
vestibule, as it's known in the trade.
What you won't be able to feel is the cold air coming in. This thin bit of material actually makes a massive difference for heat retention. Anyway, Paddy will no doubt be able to show you the kitchen, which
It's
is
as neat as my kitchen at home.
on the far side there. We've got tomorrow's food bag, which you brought in so we can have porridge and things tomorrow morning. We've got today's food bag, which is pretty much empty apart from the mouldy cheese. We brought some 7 kilos of cheese, 100 grams each per day.
We've got a picture of the cheese.
Let me see if I can get cheese in. Unfortunately, the cheese did not survive the journey very well and has become like this. That's actually quite well preserved.
That's quite a good one, actually. I might eat some of that.
eat
Yeah.
much of that. And there's a bit of a funny red dot on there, though.
Interestingly, this patch of whiteness just here actually represents our drinking water source as well.
Yeah, nicely put the couscous grains in there.
I didn't put them. Oh,
You threw them out.
so-
Well, as you've seen, we've got some Glenlivet, which Paddy very generously presented to me on the 30th of May, which was actually quite some time ago now. The significance being that's my birthday. And then the next appropriate occasion we thought would be when we reached halfway, which we did today. And we thought it would be appropriate to celebrate with some Glenlivet, which we will now do, and then go to bed, because we're knackered.
So, Paddy, what were we on?
229 kilometres to dog camp, or 272 to point 660, which is our finish.
So that says 211, which means we've done 18k today.
18k. That's okay. That's
Not bad, is it?
second best distance.
Second best distance.
Okay.
I think we both kind of hoped we'd be 20 today, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Especially as we need to be averaging 19 pretty much.
19 and a half.
By 19 and a half every day.
But then I don't think we did much. I think we actually had a little bit of ascent today, and we didn't have very much descent.
I think that's possible. 254, yeah. So we've got 254 kilometres to do in 13 days now. It's quite a bit. So we've got to hit this average of 19 and a half. In fact, it goes up now. 19, just over 19 and a half.
It's nearly 20, yeah.
Nearly 20 kilometres a day, which is quite a bit.
So there was this bit of anxiety here. We'd taken 22 days to get to the halfway point, which meant we only had 13 days left to get to the finish. If we were late, we'd miss our exit from Greenland, we'd run out of food, but we only had a third of our time left to complete the second half of the crossing. So we really couldn't afford any more problems from bad weather, or particularly from my troublesome ski.
Another hard day at the office.
That's right. What breaks this, Paddy?
You tell me.
Flapjack o'clock.
Flapjack o'clock. I think one of the interesting things about doing this sort of thing is the physicality. Obviously, at its most basic level, pulling a sledge that weighs over 100 kilograms for, well, hopefully it'll be a bit less by now, but pulling a sledge which weighs that much for 5, 6, 7 hours a day has to be tiring.
6 hours.
Well, we might be doing 7.
That's right, yeah, right, yeah.
That's right.
And so, aided by a spell of good weather, we steadily increased our time pulking each day from 7 and then even up to 8 hours a day. But this really was necessary because although we were making good progress, our food supplies really were running down and our deadline for getting off the ice was becoming much, much closer.
This is the view outside the tent door on Camp 31, 11.3 kilometres from dog camp. And the dark blue strip we can see is water.
Or ice slush.
Icy, slushy stuff. Not very far from where we are at all. It's just a few hundred metres over there. And we don't like it.
Yesterday was probably one of the worst days of my life. And if I go to hell, that's what it'll be like. I didn't say anything from the moment I woke up to practically the moment we left.
That's right. You didn't. It's unnerving.
I think mostly just completely freaked out by it. Just mentally, very, very difficult.
And it turned into an absolute nightmare. We were on the go for nearly 11 hours and covered about 12 kilometres. And Paddy this morning just...
And the rest.
Yeah. well, progressed only 12 kilometres, but actually travelled probably well over double that. Started off quite well, then trying to cross a stream, I fell in some water, up to my knees or so. Shortly after that, we actually found a road.
The road, although we say it's the road, it's especially where we are now. It's marked by poles, as in big ones. Most of which have fallen over since the snow supporting them has melted. And what we're left on is trying to follow a raised, compacted bit of snow with various breaks and slashes and crevasses running through it, surrounded by just debris everywhere from crevasses and melt and all sorts.
Well, there was several streams crossing the road. It was a bit broken up by the streams, and we had every now and again, well, actually quite frequently, we'd stop and maybe have to manually lift the pulks over and things, and then reattach and go again. But then after a while, we got to a very badly broken area. There was lots of streams, some of which were very, very large, crossing the road, making it totally impassable. It wasn't just a case of us not wanting to get wet. Physically, you couldn't cross them; they were too deep and too fast. And we had a bit of a problem at that point. We decided that we'd try and just move uphill a bit and try and outflank them. It took us hours, probably, to actually get high enough up that we could cross them. It was the most incredibly awful situation. And Paddy at that point fell in much as I had before, and especially given the time of day, or at the point in our progress at which that happened, it was even more frustrating.
Obscenities were heard
many times. Yeah. Eventually, we got to a point where we were very high indeed, actually virtually right on the ridge up the top, where we managed to cross, and then kept our height, traversed around, and crossed the remaining streams. What we did do is we went to the coordinates for dog camp, and then started heading off towards point 660, and camped on the crest of a hill. Then
lots of crevasses.
Very near lots of crevasses. I was woken up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, hearing the creaking and crashing of ice round about, which is always disconcerting.
But it's getting pretty hard.
And I dropped the GPS down a crevasse.
It's fortunate we've got a spare.
It's a tiny crevasse.
It's only about that wide.
We just fitted the thing. That was it. It was a horrible day. So in the next 3 days, we've got just 27 kilometres to go. Given that, it's quite remarkable how nervous we both feel. The reason for that is that we just don't know exactly what we're going to come across. Okay, it's Thursday the 1st of July. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. We've just completed a very long day. I started at just before midnight, finished just after 1 in the afternoons, about 13 hours. We are currently sitting 12.1 kilometres from point 660, which we visited today. We've had to portage our kit out because there's a fairly significant section of road which is just impassable. I mean, the road basically dissolves into ice rumble. So to get around that, we've had to put everything on our backs, and because there's too much stuff for us to carry in one load, had to do 2 loads. So we went down today with the first load, left it at point 660 and came back up, and in a few hours I'm going to go back down with the remaining load and finish, hopefully. We just want to get some sleep and relax, and ready to go at midnight tomorrow. And there's a 4x4 going to pick us up at midday tomorrow, so
It should take us about 6 hours to get down. That's what it took us today.
Hello, this is a message from the Scottish TransGreenland Expedition. The time is 8:30 in Greenland. About an hour ago, we reached the western coast at the point mark, point 660. So that means that the expedition has been successful. We're safe, we're tired, but gradually approaching elation at the same time. Tastes pretty good.
Paddy, would you like to describe the condition of Matt's pulk?
Well, the loving repairs that I made to it failed. You can do that, but the rest of the pulk doesn't move. It's not meant to do that. Mind you, given how many pulks we saw throughout the icefall, it's maybe amazing that we got them here at all. Because it seems to be that so many people get into the icefall and just, I don't know whether they run short of time or patience or what, but
We nearly ran short of both of those.
yeah, I think we were definitely running on fumes of that particular fuel anyway. There's pulks listed. How many pulks did we see, do you think? We must have seen
I think we saw
4? No, more than that, wasn't it?
all the pulks were just
The pulks were in good nick, actually. We nearly swapped them.
17 years old, and it was just like being left the other day almost.
It was really, it was
Eerie.
like a time capsule.
Eerie.
It's very, very strange.
I want you to speak about just what has happened to us in the last 3 hours, 4 hours.
I don't really know. We got picked up by a guy in Coburg at 1 o'clock. Great. Then turned up in Canada, paid for this paid for the journey in the tourist office, where I discovered at that point I had lost my power of speech, or coherent speech. Then got taken to the campsite, which isn't, asked for a dorm, and ended up in a double. But it's great. It's all lovely. It's just, basically, we're just being shepherded around now.
Brilliant, they're telling us what to do. They're saying, right, what do you need?
I think we're basically dazed and confused, and people keep saying congratulations to us. It's surreal, and I've got no idea what's going on.